All right, welcome back to another episode of Travel Ball Talk. I'm your host, Rich Prado, owner of Playing School. Today, we're heading back down to Carolina to talk with Ray Johnson, owner, founder of Carolina Elite, and now running the Padres scout team. Looking forward to learning about both of these clubs. Ray, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Now, we've been back and forth on this pod to Carolina. I feel like I'm, running my treads kind of low. We've had, I think, let's see, off my top of my head over the last few weeks, we've been out to Western Carolina a couple times, down to Central Carolina, and now we're heading down. You're in, if I know correctly, the Greensboro area.
Yes, sir. I just moved to Greensboro. Originally from Bladen County. I'll say about 45 minutes from Fayetteville, North Carolina, about 45 from Wilmington. So we were near the coast. But, I'm currently located in Greensboro.
All right. So anybody who's been on Twitter for more than 5 minutes has probably run across either some content from you or some content from some of your guys, because you've been scoring some big time young talent.
Thank you.
Before we dive into all that, I'm kind of curious. Let's take us back to how Ray Johnson came to be and came to start Carolina Elite. Give us the whole progression.
Yeah. So all right. So I'm 29. Started Carolina Elite at age 23, 2016. So I graduated in 2012. Went to a junior college for business and journalism. So from there, in 2016, I went there for 2 years. 2016, started my media company. That's sports related. Same time I started the media company, I started Carolina Elite Baseball. So I had two things going at one time to age 23. Really, man, started from the super bottom. Started with a couple of local kids from Clarkson, North Carolina. Had half of the team in my car. Kind of legally, kind of narrating that line where you kind of legal or you legal, you know what I'm saying? So, man, thank God we made it there to all the tournaments, man. So just kind of basically wanted to help the kids out, and I knew how travel ball was, man. It was at the time it was big, but it was continuing to grow to what it is now. Started out playing a couple of local Top Gun tournaments, North Carolina. Year two went from not just North Carolina, but went to South Carolina too. So started getting kids from South Carolina. That's when things started to take off a little bit. That was the older team I had at the time was 12U. So that's the kids that's when they were 12U. Year two, we started out at 11U. Only had one team. Did good there. Started forming another youth team from there. Then from there, man, I was like, man, it's cool. We help the kids out on the young market. And usually when you on a local team like that, after the young market, the kids usually play for somebody bigger because for the hopes of getting this college scholarship. So I diversified my connections. And at the same time, while I'm diversifying my connections, doing good, this guy named Jeff Schaefer that runs the NCIS for the Northeast and Southeast for USA Baseball. He just saw, man, just me working out with these minority kids, and he just saw something in it, man. And he saw I was a good recruiter because we grew like in 2 to 3 years without any money, just off recruiting. So that's when USA Baseball reached out. I get on that subject. I don't want to kind of hop off subjects, but everything was kind of happening around the same time. So then I was like, man, I took a leap of faith. I was like, man, we're going to try to get kids out of state. So I started getting kids. So I went from recruiting the top, I started recruiting the bottom 90% players to recruiting the top 10% in the country, just trying it out, see what I could do. So started getting kids from all over the country. Year three, from Colorado, we had picked up at Boston Kellner. We discovered Patrick Dudley. We got him committed to South Carolina, 6'3" lefty, 2025 class. We Started getting kids like Bryce Clavine. He the ranked number 8 in Baseball America for the 2024 class. Started getting kids like Eric Parker, Luis Almeida, number 1 shortstop in 2025 class, but he's currently overseas right now. So basically, man, USA Baseball jumped off, and then as I'm doing that, the Padres somehow started following me on Twitter. So you would never know what a Padres scout. So like the main ones, you would never know what Twitter accounts they have. So they were following me off what quote unquote you could say like maybe a burner account.
Yeah,
me,
I got you.
Yeah, so like basically, man, I got a phone call. It's like, hey, we've been following for the past 4 months. We like what you're doing. We love your content. We see the type of kids you got. We would love for you to be a part of this team. How would you like to be a scout for Padres? So that's how I came on Elite Four and 2016. During our 3 to 4 year run, man, it's crazy how we grew. Now that kind of basically laid the foundation to the Padres scout team. We was already getting the top 10%. But now we was already getting kids in the school, so now we're focusing on not just getting kids in the school, but the draft as well. So we coach all kids, but a lot of minority kids, the benefit, they usually play basketball and football. They tell you why, because it's slower and there's better opportunities, but they don't really know like the economic opportunities, financial opportunities in baseball as well, how you can get drafted out of high school. Some people still not really educated on that, and we don't really it all depends on the kid, so like we don't just say, hey, let's get drafted out of high school, college the right fit, that's fine as well. But we gave kids other options to, we're trying to give kids other options, to where they can succeed, as well as opposed to the other sports. So that's when the Padres, they scouting style is high tools kids that with high upside. So like choosing kids early that you can see that's gonna have high upside. You know what I'm saying? For instance, like a Cam Collier, he was super toolsy early on. We knew what he was gonna be, even in the 8th grade. So that's why, for instance, the University of Louisville, offered him in the 8th grade, because of his upside, the type of kid he is, and what he can be. So that's how the Padres is. So, and they recruit a lot of minority kids. You know what I'm saying? So I guess they kind of saw that, and yeah, man, it kind of took off, man. So I kind of wear a lot of hats, man. Like I said, do a lot of stuff for USA Baseball. I actually got a camp next week in Virginia. Springfield, Virginia, at the St. James Sports Wellness and Entertainment Center for USA Baseball that I'm holding. And, yeah, man, so I ain't mean to jump off subject, but, that's kind of how Carolina Lee started. And it's been amazing to see the growth, over the past couple of years.
Well, you mentioned a name that's near and dear to my heart. Jeff Schaefer is is definitely a good buddy, and of a lot of people talk about trying to grow the game in the inner city, trying to grow the game with the African American community, and then there's some people who do stuff about it, and I think Schaefer is one of these guys with what he's done down there at Knot Hole.
Yeah, man. And shout out to Andrew too. Andrew Zyke, sure. Yeah, yes, sir. But go ahead, yes, sir.
And we before we hit record, there's we were talking a little bit about it, not to go off on this tangent, but it's like you don't struggle to put really talented black players on the field. You know what I mean? It's like it's possible. So. And I don't necessarily buy into the fact that, and I'd love your thoughts on this as well. I don't buy into the fact that the main problem is financial, or that the main solution is financial, because you figured out how to get it done. So anyway, any thoughts on that point?
So it's definitely not just a financial piece. That plays a part, but it's all about how you market the game, man. Baseball to black people is, we rarely watch it because it's deemed as slow. Especially when like watching it, and if you play it, you have fun. They say it's fun when you play, but it's hard to watch. So what we did, man, we showed the kids baseball was cool. So like it's just like a different type of factor in it, man. We kind of like bring our own style to the game. We make it cool, just like how football and basketball kind of market theirs.
Yeah,
we got the videography part in it, that where they can actually see. Not just kids coming up like baseball highlights. They coming up to hit. They actually see the verbiage, how kids interact before games, after games. So like, almost like a documentary sense. That's kind of how we like do our videos. Or like, I know most people like when they do their videos, they just have a guy record the highlights for them and stuff. Now we record everything. That way they can see the actual black baseball experience. Like they know how cool it is. I keep on saying that word "cool," man. That gets a lot of players, man. We make it fun. Like we be super loose. We joking with the kids. Of course we make it about. We tell them that it's important, and we kind of be business like, but at the same time we want the kids to have fun. That's the main thing. A lot of kids, when they play for other organizations, especially non-minority organizations, it's more no bat flips, and which everybody got their own argument with that, but it's just like it's like they in their inner shell and they can't break out of emotion. You know what I'm saying? Everything that you see Dominican players do. That's kind of like how these American board players we want to do. Like that's what makes the game fun, in my opinion. And so it's not just a financial piece, cause we both kind of know that off air. Dominicans they're really not in a financial situation, but they love the big game of baseball because of how they market it, how cool it is, the cool factor, and you can tell by their swag.
I love that. I was gonna say that same word. It's not my favorite word. The swag thing's not my favorite word,
yes.
but it encompasses exactly what you're talking about, the cool factor.
Yes.
And I think at the core of it, it's really about like culture, right? And
it is, man.
And kids are pulled towards the cool culture, and so if you're able to draw them in, but listen, everybody has identified that that there is less and less blacks playing baseball, but you then are able to go and sort of buck that trend and say, listen, it's cool over here. Come, the culture's cool, the fun is here. Bring your swag with you, or if you don't have swag, we'll give you some, and you're gonna have a good time. So, kudos to you, man. It's like, I don't know, like everybody talks about throwing money at this problem, and I'm just like, I said it before we hit record. This could be the most simplistic take, and maybe it's not the answer, but I'm like, man, let's go find more relatable young black coaches such as yourself. Let's bring those guys into the mix, and you'll see more black kids play baseball. Like you've seen my man Donald Bennett with 5-star Fayetteville. I mean, he's got a ton of black kids. It's not surprising. My guy down at GBSA is Eddie Phelps. Same deal. He had entire organizations of nothing but of black baseball players. Yeah. It's totally doable.
It makes them comfortable too, man. It gives them a sense of comfortability.
Yeah.
And culturally as well. And to be honest, like I said, if I definitely want a black coach, I definitely want to be able to pull. And I mean, I could be able to probably pull in some of these guys, but like some of these guys, they've been turning down offers from big time organizations. I'm not gonna really probably name drop, but like the top 5. The top 5 organizations you could think, anyone you could think of, they done came at these kids, man, because they in their own right, it's the top. And I got a theory too. the majority. So you look at each class in baseball, even in the perfect game. Like, it's not a lot of black kids, but the ones that are playing, they're like in the top 10, top 5, right? From even the 2026 class, you got like Gary Sheffield, son Christian. You got, he plays for us. You got, Keon Johnson, Ricky Shepard, Quentin Young. Same thing in the 2022 class. You got Jamar Johnson, Drew Jones, like RJ Austin, and all them. And so what I'm saying is, there's not a lot, but them the top ones in the class, like, and they make up like top 10. It's like 5 black kids, and I'm getting them top 10 kids. And usually they be spread it out, like 2 on this team, 2 on this team, 2 on this team, but we actually bringing them all. So, like, it's been definitely attempts to, do more minority baseball teams. It always have been, but it's rarely been, you rarely have been seen to where you bring the top ones together. That's different. That's kind of what we bring. It's like, we majority minority, but it's the best of the best, man.
Talk go a little deeper into the Padres scout team. How do you separate between Carolina Elite and Padres scout? Talk about those things.
So we have never marketed Carolina Elite as a regional organization. Everything is national. So meaning we only have one team per age group. Everything is the top. So the Padres scout team is more of, not just guys that has college futures but could potentially have a pro future. Carolina Elite is still top guys, may not be the top 10%, but that top 20%. We get them guys in the same type of mid, like top Power 5 schools or mid-major, whatever, we see fit. And, we still getting the same experience, but they just may not be ready pro-wise. Now, our 13 team is crazy. It's kind of odd because, like, most people have never said a 13 scout team before, like for an MLB organization. So the Padres smart, man. When this came about, we had so many calls. So many people was calling them. Like, y'all see this? And they laughed and they called me. They was like, man, you smart. They said the reason why is in the next 3 years when these kids get, juniors, what I'm saying, sophomores, when we start, looking at them even more, they're actually looking at kids now, man, like for real, 13, 14 years old. So, man, kids need to know that because you won't never know it's a scout. Like I said, they don't have regular Twitter, Instagram accounts, so they send me like videos about kids on the Instagram all the time. Like, who is this kid? He look good. So they're the kids that's doing it right because they're making their page just about baseball. You can post personal stuff as long as you don't post any derogatory stuff. So, long story short is, what we kind of, do, man. So, what was your question again? I kind of got off topic.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Like, how do you? It was how you determine who's going to be over there on the elite versus
the 13 scout team. So basically, it said, man, in 3 to 4 years, when it's time to draft these kids, we're gonna pick the kids that you coached and played for because you've been knowing these kids over the period of time, and you don't just know just about them physically. You know about their parents, their attitude, stuff like that. Almost more than the high school coach will know. So we're gonna draft them kids before we draft anybody else. If it's 3 kids that's on the board and you coach 2 of them, we're gonna be more than likely to draft them 2 kids other than that 3rd kid. So they actually love the idea, man. I know a lot of talk came behind it. They stuck behind me, and it's actually, man, they're one of the most not just talented but popular teams. Remember, we're going about the culture and making it cool, right? One of the most popular teams in the country because we're on YouTube, you prospects. That's the #1 baseball platform. We got millions of views on YouTube. It's crazy, and we showed the experience. Not just the on the field experience, but off the field. Most of these kids' parents are former pro athletes. Javorsky Lane, Corey Fuller, Gary Sheffield, Cameron Maben. We actually talked to Ramon Foster's son. He's a 13 kid. Ramon Foster, 10-year vet with the Steelers. Michael Bourne, his son. He'll be we'll be rolling his son out in the fall when he turned 13 to get. So that's the difference too. Our Padres teams, we don't start them till they're on the big fields at 13 years old.
Gotcha.
Carolina Elite is from 8U all the way to high school. So we have teams from 8U all the way. We haven't put the Carolina Elite brand back out on the market yet. We're trying to find coaches and stuff. But they will be back on the market this summer. They'll all be national teams. It'll be the top kids, it'll be more like a 3-state thing, like a region thing, like the top kids from all the southeastern states. So that's like Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama. And we was like that with Carolina Elite, globally, but now the Padres scout team would be more the global one where we got kids from, California, everywhere else as well.
Totally. That totally makes sense. I get you.
Yes,
cool. Right on, man. I'm looking at the clock. I want to make sure we hit some of these other questions that are my standard, my go-tos. And I'm going to start with some soft toss for you here. Put the ball right on the tee. What is there a book or movie, a website, some kind of resource that you think that all coaches should go check out?
Heck yeah, young coaches, and especially young coaches starting out, man. And could that way to start like learning how to plan your practices and stuff. And older coaches, and like all the older coaches probably read this religiously still. It's called The Coach's Playbook by Ryan Polk.
There you go.
Classic guy. So
classic.
So definitely his book, man. It just dives into just so much stuff for us, how to structure practice, how to set discipline, just everything that involves, being a baseball coach and starting a culture, man, the right culture. You know what I'm saying? And I would definitely recommend his book. Baseball, they talk about the physical stuff, but it's mostly mental. So I like the book 90% Mental. That is a really awesome book. I read that book I read a little bit of 2 years ago. I'm still trying to dive through it. And basically, they just talk about the mental portion of the sport. You know what I'm saying? Thinking 2 steps ahead to, just self-awareness, And they explain how MLB players do it, just the psychology behind it, like the techniques and imagery, strategic thinking to maximize performance, the pitcher strategy throughout the game. It's awesome, man. So definitely something like that as well. And I definitely recommend them too for starters.
Awesome. Those are great. Ron Polk is obviously a legend, and the other one was 90% Mental. What's what regret or failure changed the way you might coach for the better? Is there something you looked at from the past?
Yeah, man. Especially a younger coach, though. You want to please everybody. So you kind of coach for the parent. So I started coaching for the parents, acceptability and the kids, right? Instead of let's just say it may be a situation where I may think it's a bunt may be good. And sometimes I would kind of second guess myself leading on. But once I started making decisions that, I'm going to live and die by no matter what, I started getting better. So the regret was coaching for the parents and players. That's a big no-no, man. It's you're not going to really start believing in your own self once you start doing that, because you figure when you make this move, they're going to be mad. And, but that's really just part of the game of baseball, man. So it took me a while to kind of get over that. Once you start coaching the top kids and stuff like that, you kind of want to be perfect. You want to be perfect and do everything perfect, but you really can't, man. You make it. It may be the right play, it may be the right call, it may just not be executed right? And it's a lot of variables that go in it that a lot of people don't know about. So definitely coach for yourself. The regret was coaching for the parents and kids, sure.
That's a difficult situation where you got a parent who might be in the stands second guessing. I think that usually the quickest way to quiet them down is just hand them the clipboard and say, "Come on."
That's it.
Yeah, you're welcome to come on down and do it yourself if you want. And then 98% of them will go ahead and head back to their seat.
That's correct. That's correct, man. I've heard. A matter of fact, it's crazy. I heard a coach say that this past fall. He was like, "Well, you want to do it? Come on in here." Guess what? He didn't say not one thing again, man. It was funny, dog. It was funny, man. So you're definitely right about that for sure.
Yeah, you're welcome to come down and volunteer. Come on.
Yes, sir.
What's a piece of advice you'd give someone who's just starting a travel team or maybe opening up a facility? Somebody who's on the, before they're going to pull the trigger. What do you tell that guy?
Keep it about the kids. Baseball has kind of become a corporate sport. It's ran by literally lawyers, doctors. Man, it's investors in travel baseball, man. Like I said, I call nobody up, but it's a reason why they can offer kids flights and hotels and stuff. That's like a $50,000 to $60,000 budget per team, right? They have multiple teams, so everybody is different. I'm not saying teachers on you definitely make some money in this sport, but you make some money, but keep it about the kids, right? Keep it about the kids. You will get slaughtered. Social media is undefeated once you start making it about you, and especially if you make it obvious. So if the baseball, man, I'm trying to tell you, you gotta have thick skin if you want to get in travel baseball. Have thick skin as well, because you got the more good. See, man, I'm a good guy, man. Naturally, bro, I got a good heart. Some people take advantage of it. So I'm like, man, why is these people calling me out on Twitter? These $1 million organizations. And they've been getting top players from other organizations for years, man. That's how they make millions of dollars. That's how they make they 6 to 7. Man, recruiting coordinators in travel baseball make 6 figures. Like, recruiting coordinators. It's really that big. So, keep it about the kids, man. Make your money, whatever you need to do, but keep it about the kids. And, you should be successful.
That's good. All right, let's talk about travel ball here. If I gave you the magic wand, is there a change that you could make that would have the biggest what change would you make that would have the biggest positive impact?
Okay. All right. I'm going to give you one change, but I'm going to give you a bonus. Number one, I would like to see more minorities in the game of baseball. I know we talked about it. I coach a lot, but we still in some of them like 4%, man.
For sure.
It makes that travel base. So getting more diversity. I would just say more diversity. Number two, man, if I could see it, bro, but it's a beast. It's not going nowhere. It's a big monster. I would say, it's not like I said, it's not an important piece, but make the game more affordable for kids. The startup cost in baseball, especially travel, is $300. That's the startup cost, because you know why? You got to get a bat, you got to get a cleat, you got to get a bat bag, helmet. And back in the day, you first starting out, back in my day, the coaches had all that stuff. Now you got to buy it. So that's what you call a startup package. It's going to cost at least $300. On the low end.
For sure.
On the low end now. Once you start getting big bats and stuff, like, the bat itself going to cost $300. So I'm just saying on the low end, just getting maybe a Walmart bat, some cleats, glove, hat. Bro, it's $300. For a minority kid, man, they could get so much stuff for that. Like, in basketball, all you need is a basketball and some sneakers and try to find a court. In football, you need some cleats. Now, it's a little bit more expensive. In travel, you get so now these kids buying their own shoulder pads and helmets, but it still don't cost $300. Though I say maybe $200, maybe $150 to $200. To start off in baseball. Baseball probably has the most startup costs that you got to have accessory-wise in any sport. Golf, it's okay. You got to get your golf clubs, your bag. I think your shoes probably cost maybe $100. So golf is up there. Hockey, what you got? You got your skates. You got your helmet, shoulder pads. Hockey up there about the same as football. But baseball, it's no sport, man. You probably correct me. I don't know. I might be wrong, though. But, man, as far as the accessories and stuff you got to have just to play.
Well, when you're talking about the big three, for sure, baseball comes out just to get on the field. Like you said, you need a glove, you need the cleats, you need the bat, right? You need all these things. You need the helmets, and like you said, back in the day, Little League, we had a team bag for helmets. No kids had their own helmets. No team had that. The Little League had that, and the coach would pick up a bag of helmets. And, you usually end up, one kid would have a bat, and everybody's like, let's use that bat. So you didn't need it. You look at the difference. I got a little 6-year-old here, and we bought him his first basketball the other day. It cost me $19.
Okay.
And so this kid can go in the garage, doesn't even need to leave the house. He can go in the garage and dribble, have fun on his own, which is a
right, man,
big difference.
That's another factor too, brother. I forgot to say that, bro. Yes, how you could really be on your own, but in baseball you may have to get like a net, a tee, even more accessories. That's crazy. We talk about even more money.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's a very difficult thing to do on your own. You can pair up, and now you got just two guys. And I used to do this a ton when I was little. You pair off, and you can throw, or you can hit grounders to each other, or you can take BP. But with two guys on a basketball court, you're literally playing a game.
Yeah,
you can't play a game of baseball one-on-one. It doesn't translate. And if you look at go over to the football, you could probably start playing games with 4 guys. You ever seen 2-on-2 like in the backyard, right?
Yeah, man.
Right. So the baseball equivalent to that might be, and I know kids don't do this anymore, but we, back in the day it was wiffle ball, or after our Little League game ended, we would go over next to the concession stand and we'd play cup ball, right? We'd take a cup, we'd squish it up into a ball, and our hand was the bat. And you could do that with 3 or 4 kids, but it's really hard to play something that resembles actual baseball with just 2 or 3 or 4 kids. Now,
bro, it's crazy. Now, back in the day, we used to have things. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you did it's okay. So if it's like 2 people, we used to have we get on base. We would say this thing called ghost.
Ghost, yeah, ghost runner.
Ghost player on first base, because you know what I'm saying. So we could go back and hit again. And about these bouncy balls, like the gun machines. That's how I used to work on my hops. Basically, I was about to throw it off a wall, let it hop. You know what I'm saying? Try to pick my right hop. Because my daddy was busy, so I didn't have a dad to throw the baseball with me and stuff. So I had to kind of improvise, And man, I know exactly what you're saying, brother, for sure.
The startup the startup cost certainly is a factor, but on top of it, I think it's like a personnel issue. Like, you need bodies, you need guys.
You need bodies, bro.
So it's definitely, there's definitely some challenges, and that's why you got to bring the cool, you got to bring the culture, you got to bring the swag, and you can start bringing that into the neighborhoods and get kids out into the street, man. I struggle to believe that finances are the entire problem or the entire solution.
No, man.
When I look at
it starts at the grassroots levels, the communities.
Correct. When you
making a conscious effort to revive inner city baseball.
I
know MLB got an RBI program. That's pretty good, but I still know people right now that don't even know nothing about the RBI program.
Right.
Because it's in most areas. I think they need to maybe expand the academy. They have every academy is in a rule, it's in an area
that still feels corporate to me. When I'm talking about is, you look at these videos of the kids in the Dominican, and they're in the neighborhood. They're not on some pristine field at some fancy multi-million-dollar facility or academy. Right. They're in the streets. They got a stick. They got some ball that they created, and they're having fun. It's fun. It's cool. It's culture. It's swag. And if that could be brought into the neighborhoods, then you'll see groups of kids who are pulled to that as opposed to pool to football or to basketball, that otherwise might not be. But I love it, man.
Right.
I think the takeaway is cool, culture, swag, fun. You've
Yes, sir.
you've apparently brought that with Carolina Elite. You brought that with the Padres Scout team. So good for you, man.
Yes,
Listen, I've enjoyed having you on here and getting to know you. Is there any other sort of parting shots that if any parents or coaches or kids are still listening, anything you want to tell them?
Basically, man, the parents just make sure, you don't try to live through the kids, and I've seen a lot of kids get out of the game because of that. Just keep supporting them, even if they go 0 for 3 for the next 2 to 3 games or next week. Just keep supporting them. They need that. The kids, just control what you can control, and that's going to take you far. I mean, attitude, work ethic, just your hustle, your hustle grit, the way you articulate yourself. Control what you can control. Control the controllables. Everything else, will come into play. As long as you, do what you need to do, they should be successful.
I love that first thing you said about the parents not living through their kids. It's such a you do see that, and
a lot.
it's a little bit of a weird thing.
Right.
Just let them be, let them have fun.
Yes, sir.
And all you got to do when you get in the car is tell them how much fun you had watching them. It doesn't matter if they were 0 for 4. It doesn't matter. You're just out there playing a game. You know what I mean? So, Ray, this has been a ton of fun. You and I are going to keep in touch. Let me stop the recording. Don't hang up yet, though.
Okay, go ahead.